Sometimes, the most painful betrayals don't begin with cheating. They begin with silence, with distance, with small changes we feel, but can't explain. My name is Maya, and in today's video we are going to talk about early warning signs that your partner might be cheating, signs most people miss. This video is not about blaming. It's not about jumping to conclusions. It's about awareness, because emotional pain hurts the most when we don't understand where it's coming from. Let's begin with the quietest sign of all. At first, nothing looks wrong on the surface. They're still there, still replying, still saying, "I love you." But something feels off. The conversations that once flowed naturally now feel forced. The laughter feels polite, not real. You start sharing something important, and halfway through, you realize they're not really listening. This emotional distance doesn't happen overnight. It slowly grows. So slowly that most people blame themselves instead. You tell yourself, maybe they're just stressed. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe I'm asking for too much. But deep down, you feel it. You feel the connection weakening. Emotional withdrawal is often the first warning sign people miss because it doesn't look dramatic. There are no fights, no accusations, just a slow fading of presence. Another sign that often goes unnoticed is sudden overprivacy. Everyone deserves privacy. That's healthy. But there's a difference between privacy and secrecy. If your partner suddenly becomes extremely protective of their phone, changes passwords without reason, tilts the screen away from you, or reacts defensively when you're not even accusing them, that shift matters. It's not about checking their phone. It's about the energy around it. When someone has nothing to hide, their behavior feels calm. When someone does, even simple questions feel like threats. You might notice things like they step outside to take calls. They delete messages quickly. They become nervous when you're near their device. And again, you tell yourself, I shouldn't be suspicious. I don't want to seem insecure. So you ignore the feeling. Let's talk about routine changes. Sudden schedule changes with vague explanations can be another quiet signal. Late nights that never happened before. New work commitments that don't quite make sense. Plans that change at the last minute without clear reasons. Of course, life gets busy. People evolve. But when explanations feel rushed, unclear, or defensive, your intuition notices. What hurts the most isn't the change itself. It's the lack of transparency. You feel like you're being kept outside a part of their life that you once belonged to. Another sign many people miss is emotional defensiveness. You're not accusing them. You're not fighting. You simply ask a normal question. And suddenly, they react strongly. They turn it around on you. They say you're controlling. They say you're imagining things. They make you feel guilty for even asking. This creates confusion. You start questioning your own emotions. You wonder if you're too sensitive, too needy, too insecure. This is one of the most damaging effects, because instead of trusting yourself, you begin to doubt yourself. Now, let's talk about something people are often afraid to admit. Your intuition. That quiet voice inside you. You don't have proof. You don't have facts. But something inside you feels unsettled. Your body senses the shift before your mind understands it. You feel anxious for no clear reason. You feel disconnected even when you're together. You feel like you're loving someone who is slowly leaving emotionally. Most people ignore this intuition because they're afraid. Afraid of being wrong. Afraid of losing the relationship. Afraid of what the truth might mean. So they stay silent. They stay hopeful. They stay uncomfortable. Here's something important you need to hear. Noticing warning signs does not mean your partner is cheating. But ignoring them doesn't protect you either. Awareness is not accusation. Awareness is self-respect. Sometimes, these signs don't point to another person. They point to unresolved issues, emotional disconnection, or unmet needs. But pretending everything is fine when it isn't slowly breaks you from the inside. If you're watching this and feeling emotional, pause for a moment. Take a breath. You're not weak for noticing changes. You're not dramatic for feeling hurt. And you're not wrong for wanting clarity. In the next part of this conversation, We'll talk about deeper emotional shifts, subtle behavior patterns, and what you can do calmly, maturely, and without destroying the relationship or yourself. Before that, remember this. You deserve honesty. You deserve emotional safety. And most importantly, you deserve to trust your own feelings. When emotional distance starts to grow, something else often follows quietly. A change in how affection is expressed. They may still touch you, but it feels mechanical, automatic, like a habit, not a feeling. Or the opposite happens. Suddenly, affection disappears. No holding hands. No spontaneous closeness. No warmth in small moments. You begin to miss them, even when they're right beside you. This is one of the most confusing experiences in a relationship, feeling alone while being together. Another subtle shift appears in the way they talk about the future. Before, plans felt shared. We, us, someday. Now, the language changes. They talk in terms of I, their goals, their plans, their life. When you mention the future, they avoid the topic or change it quickly. Not because they're unsure, but because they're emotionally somewhere else. And this hurts deeply. Because the future is where love usually lives. Let's talk about comparison. Sometimes, your partner starts casually mentioning someone else more often. A colleague, a friend, someone new. At first, it feels harmless. But slowly, you notice a pattern. They admire qualities in this person that they never appreciated in you. They laugh differently when talking about them. There's energy in their voice you haven't heard in a long time. This doesn't always mean cheating, but it does mean emotional attention is being redirected. And emotional redirection is often the doorway to betrayal. Another warning sign people miss is how conflict changes. Healthy conflict brings you closer. Unhealthy conflict creates distance. If your partner suddenly avoids important conversations, shuts down emotionally, or refuses to work through issues that once mattered, something has shifted. They may say, "I'm tired of talking. Let's not make this a big deal. It's not worth the argument." But what they really mean is, they've already checked out emotionally. Now let's address something painful but necessary. Guilt behavior. When someone is hiding something, they often swing between two extremes. Either they become unusually kind, bringing gifts, being extra attentive, overly sweet for no clear reason. Or they become cold, irritable, and easily annoyed. Both are emotional responses to inner conflict. And again, you feel the change without understanding why. One of the hardest signs to talk about is how they react to your pain. When you express sadness, confusion, or insecurity, a loving partner leans in. But when someone is emotionally detached, your pain becomes an inconvenience. They may dismiss it, minimize it, or make you feel like you're too much. This is where many people lose themselves. They start shrinking, speaking less, asking less, feeling less, just to keep the relationship alive. If you recognize yourself here, please hear this gently. Love should not require you to abandon yourself. Now comes the most important part of this conversation. What should you do if these signs feel familiar? First, don't panic. Panic creates reactions. Reactions create damage. Instead, observe calmly. Look for patterns, not isolated moments. Second, reconnect with yourself. Ask yourself honest questions. Do I feel emotionally safe here? Do I feel valued? Do I feel heard? Your answers matter. Third, communicate from clarity, not fear. Not accusations. Not assumptions. But honesty. I feel distance between us. I feel disconnected lately. I miss the way we used to talk. The right partner listens. The wrong one deflects. And finally, remember this truth. Cheating is not just physical. It begins emotionally, long before actions follow. But even more important than catching signs is protecting your self-respect. Because the goal is not to prove someone wrong. The goal is to protect your peace. If you're watching this and feeling heavy, know this. Clarity is kinder than confusion. You deserve love that feels safe. You deserve communication that feels honest. And you deserve a relationship where your intuition is respected, not silenced. If this video helped you feel seen or understood, stay connected with this channel. Sometimes, the right words at the right time can change everything. Take care of your heart. And never ignore what it's trying to tell you.